This video will take a look at the costly and inefficient practice of cascading reassignments. The company relies on its SkySolver recovery software to find the lowest cost solution to any disruption. While the inputs, weightings, and outputs are known only to the company, we know that short-term cost is the primary, or at least the highest weighted factor it considers. By fixating on cost, the algorithm ignores too many other important factors. For example, as we mentioned in the schedule execution NP, SkySolver permits solutions that include connections under 20 minutes, something that we have shown has a failure rate of about 80%. And it looks for legal, not necessarily common sense or smart solutions, so we often see our pilots being pushed right to FAR and CBA block and duty limits. Even when pilots, as frontline leaders, see a flaw with the plan as proposed and try to proactively address it, rarely are their inputs considered good enough to override the computer's cost-optimized output. SkySolver solutions often impact crews that would otherwise be completely uninvolved with the original disruption. Over the next few minutes, we'll break down a recent example of how a cascade of changes were not only excessive, but truly inefficient. In the end, SkySolver chose to disrupt 5 pilots and introduce 7 deadheads at a cost of more than 20 trips for pay. Compare that result to SWAPA's alternate solution, 2 pilots and 1 added deadhead. And SWAPA's solution also would have required fewer aircraft and crew swaps, which means less opportunity for further disruptions. Of course, fewer reassignments always means fewer audit needed tags, something we know the company really needs as well. Let's take a look at just one event that happened last month. The problem began on the first day of a 3-day trip that was scheduled to end the day before Thanksgiving. Just prior to landing in Des Moines on the second leg, Flight 2160, which is scheduled from St. Louis to Fort Myers, first projected a delay at 13:13 Central Time. The pilots were still okay to finish the day, but the delay would cause a rest issue in Fort Myers for the Phoenix captain. That triggered the need for scheduling to make an adjustment. The captain flew the late leg, rested, and then was reassigned to a deadhead to catch back up to his pairing on the 20th as it went through Pittsburgh. But that left Flight 1832 from Fort Myers to Baltimore uncovered in the morning. SkySolver implemented the following solution. SkySolver pulled a replacement pilot in Baltimore who was supposed to be deadheading to Providence and double deadheaded him to Fort Myers through Columbus, even though there was a nonstop. Of course, this change left Flight 1269 from Baltimore to Providence uncovered as well as the Providence overnight. If you're keeping score, they used 3 deadheads, which all triggered premium pay. Scheduling stair-stepped the uncovered Baltimore-Providence leg to another inbound reserve captain. His reassignment then left Flight 159 Baltimore to Manchester and the Manchester overnight uncovered. SkySolver made a good optimization here as far as the company was concerned. Although the 20th involved a move-up, it didn't trigger move-up pay under reserve assignment pay rules. The Baltimore-Manchester flight was added on to a BWI captain on his last day. The good news was that it was an AM and the captain didn't get stuck in an RON-JA situation. Hopefully he had a chance at a later commuter flight if he needed it after his 14-plus hour day. Just a side note, the Manchester overnight got tagged onto with a bait and switch on a Snot S award. I'll bet he otherwise would have requested a deadhead release in Baltimore and commuted home on the 19th. Oh, we almost forgot. There was one more leg to cover. The Baltimore-Pittsburgh flight that was part of the illegal overnight and Fort Myers sequence. Well, scheduling had to build a BWI pit turn with a double deadhead back and run it through open time to recover the BWI pit flight. So, the final tally for their solution was 7 added deadheads and more than 20 trips for pay. SWAPA doesn't have SkySolver access. We have manual crew availability reports and a working knowledge of our network to rely on. Our solution would have been taking a Las Vegas reserve pilot who was in Baltimore waiting to deadhead back to base where he would have had one more day of RAP. They didn't use him on the last day anyway, for what it's worth. Instead of his flight to Las Vegas, he could have deadheaded on the nonstop Baltimore to Fort Myers to recover the overnight. The next day, he could have flown the Fort Myers to Baltimore leg and then deadheaded to Las Vegas to finish his reserve block. The irony here is that one reserve could have actually served as the fireman here rather than the online reassignment cascade they implemented. SWAPA is strongly in favor of pilots covering flying voluntarily and holding reserves as a true contingency force when disruptions just like this one happen. As you can see, these reassignments don't always make sense, but the move-ups, add-ons, and bait-and-switch experiences can tally up some steep premium pay opportunities. So now we have to ask you, should SWAPA seek language in 2020 that reduces these types of cascading reassignments by smarter use of reserves, offering more in open time, and fixing issues proactively and quickly so fewer problems fall into insufficient time? Or do SWAPA pilots enjoy this level of scheduling turbulence and all of the reassignments and all of that premium pay that comes with it?